1 year ago today, U.S. Navy SEALs killed the man responsible for the 9/11 attacks. It took almost 10 years to find Osama Bin Laden in his hideout in Pakistan. His death brought a sense of closure for the American people, but the effects of Bin Laden's terror are still being felt in the U.S. and around the world. Joining us now from Los Angeles is Jere Van Dyke, CBS News consultant. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Michelle.
How has the world changed since the death of Osama Bin Laden?
The world is a much more frightening place since 2001, and I think it is slightly less frightening for Americans since 1 year ago when the Navy SEALs did kill Osama Bin Laden in Abbottabad. However, even though Al-Qaeda has been largely decimated in Pakistan, Al-Qaeda as a force, Al-Qaeda as an idea, Al-Qaeda and its affiliates are still very strong throughout the world, particularly in the Muslim world, in North Africa, in the Arabian Peninsula, and to a slightly lesser degree still in Pakistan and in Afghanistan.
There was an increase in tension between the U.S. and Pakistan following the raid on Bin Laden's compound. Have relations improved, or will there always be a degree of suspicion between the two countries?
No, the relations between the two countries have not improved. In fact, they have worsened. In particular, last November, U.S. helicopters accidentally, probably strayed across the Afghan-Pakistani border, inadvertently killed 24 Pakistani soldiers. Since then, the route through which the United States has sent most of its materiel for the war in Afghanistan through Pakistan has been closed. The United States and Pakistan have had close military alliance since 1953. In no time since that time has it been as bad as it is today.
Wow. Well, let's talk about Afghanistan and Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. What is the state of the organization there?
In Afghanistan, when Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta was head of the CIA, he, as well as General David Petraeus, when he was the previous commander in Afghanistan, said that in their view there was no more than about 50 members of Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. Now we have heard the word most recently that there are perhaps 100 or 200. We really don't have any clear indication where they are in Afghanistan, except most probably along the Afghan-Pakistani border in the mountains where it's very difficult for Americans to penetrate. Al-Qaeda itself in South Asia is primarily in the tribal areas of Pakistan, called this lawless area. It's not lawless at all. The tribal culture is very strong there. And this is where Al-Qaeda and the Taliban are working very closely together. There was a report just recently that, based upon the information that the SEALs found in Abbottabad, that Mullah Omar, head of the Taliban, and Osama bin Laden were exchanging information. They were working very closely together. In the 1990s, before the U.S. invaded, Al-Qaeda seemed to be the stronger of the two forces in Afghanistan. It came from Osama bin Laden's money in part, but now the Taliban are much stronger than Al-Qaeda, but the two are still very closely allied. They're working together. Al-Qaeda's goals are international. The Taliban's goals are in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But ideologically, spiritually, in a military sense, they're identical.
The widows of Osama bin Laden were deported to Saudi Arabia last week. Do you think we'll get any information on how bin Laden was able to evade capture for as long as he did from them, now that they're out of Pakistan?
Excellent question. Many people wonder that same thing, Michelle. The CIA wanted desperately to have access to the widows, not so much the children. Pakistani military intelligence, the ISI, and Pakistani military officials themselves prevented that. Now they're going to be in Saudi Arabia. Now they're going to be in Yemen. And our ties with the Yemeni government are better than they certainly are with Pakistan. With Saudi Arabia, they're also better. I do believe we'll probably have some access there. It's a fascinating story. One part is that the eldest of the widows was jealous of a younger widow because Osama bin Laden was more partial to her. Therefore, she is the one who, it is said, you read these reports, helped the CIA track Osama bin Laden out of jealousy. Well, it'd be interesting to find out how much they do know, how much they're willing to tell us, because if anybody has inside information, his widows certainly will.
Well, Jere Van Dyke, CBS News consultant, thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning.